Ethan Carter stood at the docking gate, holding a small bag and wearing a calm smile on his face. He had just landed on Station Varix, a giant hub floating above a burning red star. His boots clicked on the metal floor as he walked toward the line of other new students. But Ethan was different. He was the only human boy who had chosen Class XG9. Everyone else avoided it. Class XG9 was known across the galaxy as the most dangerous class at Nova Edge Academy. It was made up of elite alien girls from many warlike planets. They were fast, strong, and trained for combat since childhood. Some called them monsters in disguise. But Ethan did not believe in rumors. A tall woman in silver armor met him at the gate. Her name was Captain Ilza. She looked him up and down. "You are the human boy who asked to join Class XG9? "Yes," Ethan said. "I am. You may regret it." "I might," he replied with a smile. She gave him a short nod and led him through the long glass halls of the academy. Outside the windows, Ethan saw other students training with weapons, flying in groups, or working on battle programs. He noticed they were all serious. No one was smiling. When they reached the entrance of Class XG9, the metal doors opened with a heavy sound. Inside were 20 girls, each from a different world. Their eyes turned toward Ethan at once. He stepped in and kept smiling. Zara, the leader of the class, stood up. She had sharp eyes, red armor, and long black hair tied back. She looked strong and dangerous. She walked toward Ethan slowly. "You are not one of us," she said. "Why are you here?" "To learn," Ethan answered. The girls laughed, but not kindly. One of them, Kale, threw a training disc toward him. Ethan ducked quickly and caught it before it hit the wall. He handed it back to her calmly. "You have fast hands," Kale said. "Thank you," he said. Zara did not smile. "You will be tested. You will not like it." "Maybe," Ethan replied, "but I will not run." That day, the girls gave him the hardest seat in the class, near the cold vent. No one talked to him. At lunch, he sat alone and ate quietly. He watched everything. He noticed how Lyra, the quiet girl with glowing eyes, read minds when she thought no one noticed. He saw how Nyla, the small one with white skin, floated when she thought no one looked. Later in training, he was made to run obstacle courses 3 times, while others ran once. He did not complain. When he fell, he got up. When he got hit, he kept going. At the end of the day, Zara walked up to him. "Why do you smile so much?" she asked. "Because I am still alive," he said. I stared at him, then walked away without a word. In his room that night, Ethan looked out the window. Stars moved past in slow lines. He was tired. His body hurt. But he did not feel sad. He had come here to learn, and today he had taken the first step. Back in class, XG9, Zara spoke to Lyra in a low voice. "He is not like the others." "No," Lyra said. "He is not afraid. That could be dangerous or useful," Lyra replied. Zara looked at the door where Ethan had left. For the first time in a long while, she did not know what to expect next. And Ethan, alone in a class where no one wanted him, smiled again, not because it was easy, but because he knew he had already changed something, even if they didn't see it yet. The second day at Nova Edge Academy began before the sun rose over the burning red star. Ethan Carter was already awake, sat on his bed, tying his boots, ready for what was coming. He knew the first day had been only the beginning. Today would be harder. He walked into the training hall with calm steps. The girls of Class XG9 were already there, stretching and preparing. No one spoke to him. They watched him from the corners of their eyes. Zara stood in front of the class. She looked at Ethan with her arms crossed. "Today," she said, "we begin the test." The test was not just one event. It was a series of trials meant to break the week. It started with a long run through the hot tunnels under the academy. The ground shook, and heat waves made it hard to see. The girls ran like shadows. Ethan followed. His legs burned, his back hurt. But he kept running. He did not finish first. He did not finish last. But he finished without falling. Next was the balance field. Steel beams moved in the air, spinning and changing direction. One mistake meant falling into cold water filled with electric fish. The girls jumped and moved like dancers. Ethan studied the pattern, then stepped forward. He slipped once, but caught himself. He did not fall. Later, They entered the mind maze. This was Lyra's world. She stood near the entrance and smiled for the first time. "Let's see how well the human boy can think," she said. Inside the maze, thoughts came alive. False doors, traps made of memory, voices of fear. Ethan moved slowly. He saw a door with his mother's voice behind it. He stepped away. Another door showed him Earth, quiet and safe. He turned from it too. He walked straight, heart steady, until he found the exit. Lyra waited there. "You are strange," she said. "You saw your fear and did not hide." "I have nothing to hide from," Ethan said. She looked at him with interest now. The last test of the day was the combat circle. One by one, each student had to face 2 others at the same time. No real weapons, only padded rods, but the hits still hurt. Ethan stepped into the circle. Zara called out the names. Kale and Nyla, they were fast. They came at him from both sides. Ethan blocked one hit, ducked the next, and rolled under Nyla's swing. He was not stronger, but he was quicker than they expected. He used timing. When Kale struck, he used her weight against her. When Nyla floated, he stayed low. They did not win, but they knocked him down twice. Still, he stood up again. When it ended, Kale offered her hand. Ethan took it. "You learn fast," she said. He replied. Back in the locker room, the girls spoke quietly. They did not laugh at him now. Some even nodded as he passed by. Zara met him in the hallway. "You are not like the others," she said. "Neither are you," Ethan said. Zara paused, then she gave a short nod. That night, Ethan sat by the academy window again. He looked at the stars. He felt tired, but proud. He had not won every test, but he had not failed either. Lyra came to his door. She stood there for a moment. "I looked into your mind today," she said. "You smile because you carry something heavy, but you do not let it crush you." Ethan did not answer right away. "Everyone carries something," he said at last, "but I choose what to do with it." She nodded and walked away. As the stars moved slowly in space, Ethan closed his eyes. He was not trying to be a hero. He was just trying to be himself. But even that, in a place like this, was something powerful. And somewhere in the shadows, one of the silent teachers watched him through a screen. A soft voice spoke behind the glass. "The boy is changing them," the voice said. "Yes," the teacher replied. "But what will he become?" 3 weeks had passed since Ethan Carter joined Class XG9. The air around him had changed. The girls no longer ignored him. Some asked short questions, a few trained beside him, still most were careful. Trust came slow in a place like this. One night while others slept, Ethan sat in the dark library of Nova Edge Academy. He read files about old missions, strange council orders, and names that showed up again and again. Something felt wrong. Class XG9 was not just a training class. It was something more. Soft sound behind him made him turn. Zara stood near the door. "You should not be here alone," she said. "I could say the same to you," Ethan replied. She stepped closer and looked at the files. "We're digging in places they don't want us to see." "Because I want to understand," Ethan said. "This class is different. The tests, the pressure, they are shaping you all into something more than students." Zara nodded. She reached into her jacket and placed a small drive on the table. "Look at this," she said. Ethan plugged it into the screen. A list appeared. Names of planets, missions, missing students, ports marked as accidents. One name was clear at the top. Class XG9. "They are turning us into tools," Zara said. "Special units for secret missions. And no one outside knows." Ethan leaned back in his chair. "Why tell me this?" "Because you are not one of them. You still ask questions? You don't follow without thinking?" Just then a red light blinked in the corner of the room. Security alert. Someone had triggered a silent alarm. "Go," Zara said. "I will delay them." Ethan ran through the back door, files copied to his device. He moved fast through the shadows and slipped into a storage room. There he waited until the alarm went off. The next morning, nothing was said. But he saw the headmistress glance at him during breakfast. Her eyes were sharp. She knew something. Later that day, during zero-gravity training, the accident happened. A drone, used for practice, suddenly went out of control. It shot a beam toward Ethan. He rolled just in time. The beam hit the wall behind him. Zara and Kale helped him to his feet. "That was not random," Zara said. "Someone is sending a warning." "I got the message," Ethan said, "but I won't leave." Ack. Kale looked at him with surprise. "Most would run. I'm not most." Evening, Ethan met with Lyra and Nyla in a quiet corner of the academy. He showed them what he and Zara had found. "They want to use us for silent war," Lyra said. "Without choice. We must tell someone," Nyla said in her quiet voice. "Not yet," Ethan said. "We need proof, real proof. Enough to make the council listen." The three made a plan. They would dig deeper, find out how far this program reached, and how many students had vanished in the past, but they had to be careful. Eyes watched them now. In the training hall, the girls noticed the change. Zara stood closer to Ethan. Lyra spoke openly with him. Even Nyla, who spoke to almost no one, now walked beside him. One girl named Rhea, strong and silent, asked him why he smiled so much. "Because I still believe things can change," he said. She said nothing, but later stood beside him during drills. That night, Ethan sat by his window again. The stars felt closer now. The danger was real, but so was the purpose. In another room, the headmistress spoke into a dark screen. "He is bonded with the class," a voice replied from the shadows. "Then push him harder. Let us see how far he can go." Outside in the halls of Nova Edge Academy, something was moving. Not just Ethan, not just the girls. Change had begun. And in the middle of it all, one human boy still smiled, even while the galaxy shifted around him. Ethan sat in the back corner of the academy's garden, away from the noise of training drills and marching footsteps. The garden was one of the only peaceful places left at Nova Edge Academy. Green lights glowed from the glass trees and small flying lights danced over the plants. Nyla sat across from him, her silver eyes watching quietly. "We need more proof," Ethan said. "Enough to make the council act." "The files are hidden deep," Nyla said, "but I can get them. I know the system." Later that night, Ethan met with Zara, Lyra, Kale, and Nyla in an empty supply room. The five of them formed a small circle of trust. They spoke in low voices. The plan was simple but risky. Nyla would access the core server hidden in the command wing. Ethan and Zara would distract the guards. Lyra would watch the mental signals, warning them of danger. Kale would stay near the exit with a pulse jammer. They moved at night. The halls were quiet, only the sound of low hums and soft boots on metal floors. Zara started a fake fire drill. Sirens rang. Lights flashed red. Guards ran toward the wrong wing. In that moment, Nyla slipped into the command center. Her fingers danced over the control pad. The files opened. She downloaded them quickly. Lists of names, orders, secret missions labeled with numbers, evidence of missing students. Ethan's name was listed in a file marked Phase 2. Just then, a shadow moved across the hall. A silent drone hovered nearby. Lyra felt it first. "They know," she whispered into the CUM device. Kale activated the jammer. The drone blinked and fell to the floor. Ethan and Zara grabbed Nyla and rushed toward the exit. Alarms screamed. Red lights turned to blue. Security bots rolled in from both sides. Kale threw a flash pod. White light filled the corridor. The team ran. They made it back to the training hall just as the emergency doors shut behind them. Breathing hard, Ethan looked at the files on the screen. The truth was all there. They now had everything. The next morning, nothing was said about the break-in. No one called them out. But something had changed. Teachers watched more closely. Drones flew lower. Lessons became more strict. In the middle of combat class, Zara looked at Ethan. "We have the proof. Now what?" "Now we show them," Ethan said. "But not just the council. We show the whole academy." Lyra nodded. "They won't silence us all." That night, during the academy's monthly broadcast, the screens around the halls turned on. It was time for the headmistress to give her usual speech. But instead of her face, the screens showed the files. Images, orders, names of missing students. The academy froze. Voices rose in shock. Some students ran to teachers. Others stood still, reading every word. Ethan stepped into the open hall with Zara and the others. He looked around at the students and spoke. "They trained us to fight, but they never told us the truth. We are not weapons. We are not tools. We are people. We choose our future. A silence followed. Then, one by one, students from other classes began to step forward. The headmistress arrived with guards. Her voice was cold. "You crossed a line, Ethan. You crossed it long ago," he said. She raised her hand to give an order, but Kale activated the pulse jammer again. The guards' weapons shut down. The students blocked the path. The teachers did not move. In that moment, control of the academy slipped away from the headmistress. Ethan turned to Zara. "This is just the beginning." She nodded. "Then we stand together." And for the first time since Class XG9 was formed, the students stood not in fear, but in unity. The room felt different. The academy itself felt different. Far above, on a council ship, unknown leaders watched the events unfold. "The boy has become a spark," one of them said. "Now we must decide," another replied. "Do we stop the fire, or let it burn away the lies?" But down below in the halls of Nova Edge, Ethan still stood, calm and proud. He had come to learn, but now he was teaching them all what it meant to be free. The academy was no longer the same. After the broadcast, everything changed. The students had seen the truth. Some were angry, some were afraid, but most were ready for answers. Ethan walked through the halls with Zara and Lyra beside him. The other students moved out of the way, not with fear, but with respect. He had become more than the new boy. He had become the reason they had hope. The headmistress had not been seen since the broadcast. Guards still stood at the doors, but they were no longer trusted. Teachers watched in silence. No one knew what would happen next. Ethan gathered his group in the old library. Zara, Lyra, Kale, and Nyla sat around him. A few more students had joined them. Rhea, the quiet fighter. Tora, the girl with fire in her veins. And Vina, who could hear sound through walls. "We started something," Ethan said. "But if we stop now, it means nothing. They will strike back," Zara said. "They always do. Then we must be ready," Lyra added. Together, they made a plan. The council had ignored the signs for too long. Now Ethan and his allies would send a message no one could ignore. They trained harder than ever. Combat drills turned into real defense lessons. Kale taught others how to disarm drones. Vina shared ways to track sound patterns. Nyla mapped the academy's secret doors. Zara helped each girl find her strength. And Ethan, as always, stood with them. One evening, while Ethan walked alone near the launch bay, he heard a sound behind him. He turned and saw the headmistress. "You think you have one?" she said. "No," Ethan replied. "I think we've just begun." "You were brought here for a reason," she said. "You were part of the plan." "Then your plan failed," he said. She stepped closer. "The council does not forgive. They will erase this. And you. Let them try. I'm not alone." She left without another word. Later that night, a ship arrived without warning. It was large and dark, with no flags. It landed in silence near the academy's edge. Students watched from the windows. Fear spread quickly. Zara met Ethan at the control room. "This is their answer," she said. "They are coming to take back control." "Then we make a choice," Ethan said. "We can hide, or we can show them who we really are." A voice came from the academy speakers. It was cold and deep. "All students must report to the training hall." Now, Ethan looked at his friends. "Let's go together." In the hall, the council officers stood in black armor. They looked at the students like tools, not people. One of them stepped forward. "The human boy has caused disorder. He will be removed." Ethan stepped forward before anyone else could. "No, I will not go." Zara and Lyra joined him. Then Kale, Nyla, and the others followed. The officer raised his hand. "Then we will remove you by force." The girl stepped into fighting stance. Ethan did not raise a weapon. He simply stood. "If you take one of us, you take all of us," Zara said. A silence filled the room. More students came in. Even some teachers stood behind Ethan. The officer looked at the crowd. He saw that fear no longer ruled this place. He lowered his hand. "Now we'll regret this," he said. "Maybe," Ethan said. "But we will regret silence more." The officers left without a fight, but their message was clear. They would return. After they were gone, The academy felt different. The students had taken a stand. They were no longer tools. They were a team. Later that night, Ethan and Zara stood on the roof, looking at the stars. "You came here alone," she said. "Now you lead all of us." "I didn't come to lead," he said. "I came to learn, and we learned from you." He smiled, looking up at the sky. The real fight was still ahead, but now they were ready. For the first time, the most dangerous class in the galaxy was no longer feared because of what they could destroy. They were known for what they chose to protect. The academy was quiet before dawn, but everyone felt it in the air. A storm was coming. The council ship had left, but it was not a retreat, it was a warning, and Ethan knew it. He stood in the command room with Zara, Lyra, Kale, Nyla, and the others. A new map glowed on the screen, showing movement from nearby space stations. Unknown ships were gathering. The council was planning something big. "They want to crush us fast," Zara said. "Before others hear what happened here, then we must act first," Ethan said. They could not run. The students had taken a stand, and now the galaxy was watching. So Ethan and his team planned the uprising. They reached out to other classes. Many students joined. Even some teachers who once followed the council now stood with Ethan. Nova Edge was becoming something new, a place where strength was not for control, but for unity. The plan was simple. During the next training war, which the council still allowed as a test, Ethan and his allies would turn the fake battle into a real message. They would use it to take full control of the academy. The day arrived. The training war began in the arena, a huge space with floating platforms, shield fields, and heavy fog. Classes were divided into teams, each given orders and mock weapons, but Ethan's team had a different goal. Zara led the front group, creating a distraction. Kale and Tora disabled the arena's control room. Nyla hacked the broadcast system to show the true story of the academy to the entire network. Lyra stayed near Ethan, reading thoughts and guiding their next steps. As the fake battle started, explosions lit up the field. Teams rushed across the platforms, but Ethan's group moved with purpose. Kale gave the signal. "We have control of the systems. Your voice is live across every academy." Ethan stood on the high platform, camera drones circling him. He spoke clearly. "My name is Ethan Carter. I came here to learn, but I found something wrong. They trained us to fight, to follow without asking why. We are not weapons. We are people, and we choose a different way." Across the stars, students and teachers watched. "This place can be more," Ethan said. "Not just a base for war, but a home for peace, strength, and truth." Just then, warning lights flashed. The council ships had arrived. Real weapons were locked. They were ready to strike. Zara looked at Ethan. "We stand now. No going back." He nodded. "Let's protect what we've started." The battle began. Drones dropped from the sky. Council bots rolled in from every door. Students fought back, not with rage, but with skill. Ethan led from the front, guiding movements, helping the younger ones, making sure no one was left behind. Zara's team pushed the bots back from the eastern wing. Lyra stopped an ambush using her mind link. Kale overloaded the power grid to shut down enemy systems. Nyla created shields over injured students using tech she built herself. The fighting was hard, but the academy stood strong, and the council officers landed. Ethan faced them on the main platform. Their leader stepped forward. He was tall, covered in black armor, and held a glowing weapon. "You think a boy and a few students can rewrite the laws of the galaxy?" Ethan looked him in the eye. He already did. The officer attacked, but Ethan moved fast, blocking and dodging. He didn't fight to destroy. He fought to protect. And he wasn't alone. Zara joined him, then Lyra, then Kale, and the rest. Together, they overwhelmed the officers. The last drone dropped. Silence filled the arena. The battle was over. Students stood among smoke and broken machines.
Ow.
They had defended their home. Ethan looked around. "We won. But this is just the first step." Zara stepped beside him. "We hold the academy now, but what comes next will be even harder." He nodded. "Then we'll face it." Together in the sky above, council ships turned away. not out of fear, but out of doubt. Something had changed. A human boy had walked into the most dangerous girl class in the galaxy and started a new age. And still, even now, he smiled. The academy was quiet now. Smoke had cleared. Broken machines were taken away. Council ships had left the area. What remained was a place that had seen war and survived it. Ethan stood at the main balcony, looking over the training field. It was being cleaned and rebuilt. But more than that, the academy itself was changing. For the first time, it felt alive in a new way. Students were no longer scared, trained with purpose, not fear. Teachers had started to join them again. Everyone was talking, planning, and sharing ideas. Ethan had not just helped them win a battle, he had helped them believe. Zara walked up beside him. She wore her red armor, but now without the heavy shoulders. She looked lighter, like a soldier who had found peace. "You should be proud," she said. "I didn't do it alone," Ethan replied. "That's why it worked," she said. News of what happened had reached many corners of the galaxy. Other academies began asking questions. A few even sent support. A new voice had entered the conversation, and it came from a class once feared by all. Ethan was called to speak before a new group. A youth council, formed by students and young leaders from across the stars, wanted to rebuild the training system, accepted the offer, not for power but for change. Before he left, he met with his team in the same room where they had made their first plans. Lyra, Kale, Nyla, Rhea, and the others were all there. Tora had painted a mural on the wall, showing the class standing together under a bright star. "I will speak for all of us," Ethan said. "But this is your story too. Never forget that." "We won't," Lyra said. "We are not the same girls we were. And that's because of you." "No," Ethan said. "It's because you decided to change." They laughed. Even Nyla gave a small smile. When the day came, the whole academy gathered outside. Ships arrived to take Ethan to the council. As he walked to the launch pad, students lined the path. Some saluted, some clapped, and he just smiled. Zara walked with him to the ship. "You changed everything," she said. "So did you," Ethan said. "Will you come back if you need me?" he said. The ship rose into the sky. Ethan looked down at the academy. The place that had once tried to break him had become the place where he had grown stronger. Months passed. Nova Edge Academy was no longer feared. It became a center for leadership and learning. More boys joined. More ideas were shared. The students led the changes. Teachers followed them. And at the center of it all was Class XG9. Ethan returned one day not as a student, but as a guide. He walked into a new class. New students looked at him with curious eyes. He wore no armor. He carried no weapon. But they listened. "I was once like you," he said, "afraid, unsure, and alone. But then I met people who showed me that strength is not how hard you hit, but how long you stand." He trained the new ones with care. He showed them how to fight, yes, but more than that, how to think, how to speak, and how to lead. Zara became one of the Academy's top trainers. Lyra joined the council as a mind advisor. Kale built defense systems for peaceful worlds. Nyla helped design safe learning centers across deep space. Class XG9 had become a legend. Not for the battles they won, but for what they stood for. One evening, Ethan sat by the same window where he used to stare at the stars. The sky had not changed. But he had. A young student sat beside him. "Is it true? You walked into the most dangerous girl class in the galaxy and smiled?" Ethan looked at the boy and smiled again. "Yes," he said. "And I never stopped." The stars moved slowly outside. Peace was never easy, but it was worth the fight. And somewhere in the galaxy, a new story was beginning, just like his once had.